Let's do this. The Cult of Hockey podcast by the faithful and for the faithful. I am David Staples of the Edmonton Journal, and I'm here tonight with Bruce McCurdy. Hey, Bruce.
Hey, David. How are you doing tonight?
How are you doing?
I'm not in a really good space right at the moment. Thanks. How about yourself?
Well, I just couldn't take it anymore. When Nuge got that penalty in the end, I hit pause, and I just thought, I can't watch this power play. And I just waited 2 minutes, twiddling my thumbs, and then I looked at the scoreboard, and it was 3-2, and that made the defeat sting, I think, quite a bit less. It was easier than to watch that sequence, and but that was a very tough loss. The one thing that made me less upset about this loss than the loss in Game 1, which was a devastating loss, is the Kings deserved this game, in my opinion, Bruce. They had 16 grade A shots compared to 15 from the Oilers, but more than that, they had 9 5-alarm shots. So 5 alarm shots go in at 33% of the time on average, and the Oilers just had 2. So 9-2 on the most dangerous kinds of scoring chance shots. LA. I just had honestly, I had a bad feeling all day about this game. LA had not played well in Edmonton. I knew they were capable of a better game, and I thought they would come out. And I thought if the Oilers could get through the first period, survive the first period, it might turn out okay for them, and that didn't happen in the end. It just seemed like there was an inevitability about playing in LA. You know what the refs are going to be like in LA. LA's going to be fired up. They're going to bring their best game. It just was all adding up to me. And I was worried about Skinner heading into this game. Anyway, so I had a bad feeling, and so maybe because I was expecting them to lose this game on some level, I'm not as upset. All right, Bruce, this is our 2 good things, 2 bad things, and 2 numbers podcast. And because it was a really tough Oilers loss, we'll go with 2 bad things each, just to add verbiage to misery. All right, Bruce, should we start with the good things or end with them today?
Well, I kind of think the bad things kind of dominate.
All right, we'll start with the bad. We'll start with bad things.
You need to go first,
and I need to go first because So again, I was thinking the Oilers were going to get through that first period, and then this is as people who listen to this podcast know, this is one of my pet peeves, is having these offensive players on in the final 2 minutes of a period in a tight game, or in a tight game especially. And they had the line of McDavid, who isn't a weak defensive player, but he really is he is first and foremost a forward first offensive player. He's a good defender though, but his wingers right now, Kane and Hyman, they're not. Their defense is kind of iffy. So I was really worried with this line out there. And thinking, and I was cursing Woodcroft even before it happened. I was thinking, like, why are you doing this? Hyman and Kane, anyway, the puck's in the corner. There's a battle on the boards, which lasts 30 seconds, it seems, where they don't call the whistle. Is it against the rule to blow the whistle? At some point, why don't you just blow the whistle? It was ridiculous. I've never seen I can't remember all year long, at least, seeing a dead puck held against the boards last that long without a whistle. I know they don't call it much, but I just think this, like, if LA's going to hold it there, or whoever's holding, I think it was Kopitar, if I'm not mistaken, who's ever holding it, like, just call the whistle. Anyway, it doesn't happen, and the puck gets shot around the boards to the point, to Matt Roy on the right point. Kane's covering that player. And instead of, like, the play is, you do not want Matt Roy to shoot on net. So you take the middle of the ice. You take the middle of the ice so he can't get the shot on net if that puck goes around to him. But Kane kind of tracks the puck around the boards thinking he's going to catch up to it, and he never does. And because he never does, because he's He's on the wrong side of the player. He's on the board side of the player.
On the board.
The middle of the ice is also open, Bruce, and Quinton Byfield's there. And because Quinton Byfield's there, Roy could have passed to Byfield in the high slot. Darnell Nurse, then he's got to come out and cover Quinton Byfield. The puck cut. So there's a shot on net. The dreaded Californian comes about in front of our eyes. The shot on net, and Ceci and Hyman had been on the boards with their two LA players they had been battling for the puck there on the, I guess this is the left board, so the left half wall. And Ceci sticks with his man, but Iafolo charges the net, and Hyman, he just stands still. And Iafolo meets the puck, he deflects the first shot, and then he puts the rebound in because Hyman is just asleep. So Kane and Hyman both to my mind, with really major mental errors. And this is what I don't like about having these guys out there. They're not thinking defense all the time. They're thinking offense. They're thinking attack. They're offensive players. Defensive players are thinking defense all the time. That's why I would prefer to see them in those particular situations at the end of the period. Just shut it down with guys like Derek Ryan and Warren Fogle and Bugstad, and go in that direction. Ryan McLeod, because I don't think this particularly works, Bruce. And so that's my bad thing.
Yeah, Kane took a horrible angle to that shot. And, I'd like to think a guy who's played left wing in the National Hockey League for 13 seasons should have a decent idea of what the angle is between the point and the net, even if he can't see the net. And generally, if the defenseman's further off the boards than you are, chances are pretty good you're not going to block that shot. It's just simple geometry. But that was poor. And Hyman was sound asleep in the corner. Ceci never came out of the corner. Nurse was sort of floating around in the middle, but not really on anybody. I mean, he was sort of shadowing Byfield, as you say, in the high slot, but he, with Ceci just locked in the corner and the other defenseman floats away from the front of the net, then the front of the net is wide open. I mean, you call this goal a California. Usually a California goes through 3 or 4 defenders and attackers, and the goalie never sees it. Well, there was no defender within 100 miles of the front of the net. And the guy, who was it who scored it? It was
Iafolo.
Iafolo again. Yeah, he went in, he gets a midair tip on it. Skinner makes a good save off of that, and then he just sort of chops at the rebound, and somehow it goes up and over Skinner and into the net. Like, that was
32 seconds left in the period, Bruce.
Yeah, they were almost scoreless, and that was just, the puck was in the corner though, and there was like 4 Oilers within 5 feet of the boards.
Why were they doing that? Like, start backing away. Back away, like realize.
4, and once Kopitar finally got a hold of the puck and fired it around the boards to the point man, the Oilers were just lost at sea because nobody was even close to being in his regular position.
And this is offensive players too, Bruce. What do? Mm-hmm. They hover around the puck. They go for the puck. They're so puck centric. And I just think it's I don't have a lot of criticisms of Jay Woodcroft. I don't think actually that I'm not constantly harping on anything, but I am starting to constantly harp on this. I think they need to revisit this strategy and think again about it, because I don't think this works. And now some people will blame CC and Nurse. Like, if you're kind of an old time hockey guy, you're going to think, where are the defensemen in front of the net?
Yeah,
well, the way you defend now is everyone's got a player. Mm-hmm. I mean, I just think everyone's got a player. You stick with your man, and I get the criticism, and yeah, I would have liked to see a defenseman in front of the net, but I understand why there wasn't, because I think they were sticking with their men. Although with CC, I actually think if I was to blame anyone, it would not be Nurse. I think actually Nurse had to go out and cover Byfield in the high slot, because if Roy puts it over there, Byfield's going to get a dangerous chance. But CC, as the defenseman, if I was to blame any defenseman, CC's like, okay, the puck's going over there. He's not scoring from the boards. I'm skedaddling to the net as fast as I can, because that's where they're going to score from. So I think actually, if you're going to blame a defenseman, I could agree to CC, but I think Nurse had to do what he did. Your bad thing, Bruce.
Yeah, bad thing number 1 is I'm going to go with the 2-2 goal. So the second LA goal. But mainly, I'm not happy at all with what preceded it. And I know I promised to turn over a new leaf with refs, and I have. It's a hard job. Somebody's got to do it. Ideally, someone has to do it well, but that seems to be beyond the call right now. The unsportsmanlike penalty on Leon Draisaitl is the weakest, lamest call of the entire season.
It is.
In terms of what he did to get 2 minutes. The Oilers scored 2 to go ahead, 2-1. It's like the referees are going, oh no, Edmonton is starting to get momentum. We got to do something. Because Leon literally, he skated past beside Sir Drew Doughty, and he gave him the littlest tap on the shin pad, like on the shin pad. He tapped him on the shin pad, the same way you see a player tap an opponent on the shin pad when he's made a good play. Now, obviously, that wasn't the intent, but to call a 2-minute penalty for that is just absolute garbage. And it helped decide this hockey game. That bullshit penalty was a big part of deciding this hockey game, because LA came right back on that power play and tied it up, and then it just stayed tied until guess who gets a power play in overtime again to win it. But that's your second bad thing. I'm just going to leave it there before I start steaming over.
Considering the tenor of this game and the number of little shots, constant little shots, and way worse than that.
Way worse than that.
Come on, ref. What are you like? Yeah. Anyway, that was a terrible call. That was a ridiculous call, and they were really mad at Doughty for a very borderline hit on Connor McDavid,
where he got crushed McDavid and injured him, and that's not a penalty, of course.
He got his knee in
Doughty.
Yeah, so come on.
He goes by and says, "Nice try, Drew," and gives him a little tap on the shin pads, and that's you know what I want to say, penalty.
Yeah, no, that I do have to give credit
to playoff game
to LA on the set play on that goal.
Oh yeah, it was beautiful.
That's a brilliant set play, and that's whoever thought that up on the LA coaching staff or the players themselves, whoever thought that up, that was a hell of a good play. And you don't want to get caught on that again, because Kempe is a wicked shooter of the puck, and that really caught
roughly 4 times as fast as Cody Ceci, so he's going to win that race.
So you're just going to have to back off a bit. Like if they're capable of, if that's you got to be looking for that. Anyway, it was a really good play. Mm-hmm. Okay, my second bad thing, Bruce, is the overtime goal, and I'm not going to. I think the penalty was a penalty. At any other time in the game, no one would complain about that penalty. The guy is cutting into the middle of the slot. I think it's Kempe, if I'm not mistaken. Again, he's cutting into the middle of the slot area with the puck. He's going to shoot, and Nuge, wham, comes down hard and heavy, fairly high, not on his hands, just above his hands, slashes his stick and breaks his stick. So it's a scoring chance. It is a broken stick. It is a hard slash. I was okay with the call. I don't like it, but that's a penalty in my view. But man, the goal itself was one mistake after another, and the least of the mistakes. The puck's in the right corner on the boards. And Ekholm and Ryan are battling for it. Ryan gets on the wrong side of the play, charges in there. But I think the puck at that point was on the wrong side. So he was playing the puck, which is probably not a bad play. So his was the least of the mistakes, but he is on the wrong side, and I think that has a bit of an impact. If he's on the right side of the attacker, maybe this play doesn't happen. Maybe he's in a position to take the shooter, Trevor Moore, in the end, instead of being on the boards. So then the puck goes behind the net. I can't remember who was it. Who took it behind the net? Do you recall? King attacker takes it behind the net. Whoever got the assist.
Yeah, Velarde.
Velarde takes it behind the net, and he beats Ekholm's battling with him, and but that's okay. Like, this is a battle, and he's going. It looks like he's going behind the net, or he might be able to pass out. A pass out is not a great thing. Ekholm lost that battle, but if people are covering the shooters in front of the net, the pass out isn't that big a deal. You got the shooters covered. And there was only one shooter, Trevor Moore, standing right there at the side of the net. And what does Darnell Nurse do? He makes one of the poorest reads he's made all season, in years, actually. Because instead of just taking out reading the play calmly, and Nicholas Lidstrom, Jedi defender status, cover the front of the net, take the man who's going to shoot, look for the danger man. He decides he's going to lunge, just about jump over the net, lunge, and try to block the progress of the player Velarde behind the net, or block the pass. So he's lunging when all he has to do is lift Trevor Moore's stick, and there's no goal. Instead, he wipes himself out, making this misguided play, and it's in the net. And it is on Darnell Nurse. It is a huge mistake by a veteran defenseman who we have praised all year, who we continually defend, who I think is a good number one defenseman. But man, that was a really bad play. And the only thing I can think is, I think, if I'm not mistaken, he had been out there for the entire penalty kill. He hadn't gotten off the ice. And this could be another, it's like Kane in overtime when he had a brain glitch. You're just so tired, and you're kind of desperate. So you just make a mental mistake because of that. That's what's driving it, is fatigue and stress. And you're just desperate for this to go away, and it doesn't. And you make a mistake because of that. So I think that's part of the equation here in terms of Nurse making a bad play, but that was one.
Yeah, you expect your big D man to keep his head.
Yeah, you do.
And, be stable and steady around the net. And him lunging to try and pick off a pass. And he basically wiped himself out, like you say, because I'm not sure if he caught himself on the crossbar or something, but he wound up kind of twisting and falling back in a way as Trevor Moore just shoved it in from 4 feet out, and Nurse was literally standing right next to the guy until he took himself out of the play. That is a truly wretched decision and wretched execution. And it cost him the hockey game. There's no other way to put it.
It did. It really, that's a hard way to lose. And
brutal.
Yeah, it's just a mental error.
Mm-hmm.
And no good, Bruce. No good.
Yeah, well, he'd screened Skinner. There was 3 chances on that power play, and Nurse was among the culprits on all 3. He rushed up the ice early in the shift, and I don't know if he winded himself, but from then on, he screened the goalie, allowed a pass across that Byfield slammed on net in a one-timer. And then the worst of all was the play right at the end that decided it. I don't know if I'd like to know what he thought he was doing, frankly.
Yeah, early in that PK, McLeod and Nurse failed to clear it, and I thought the bad thing was going to happen then, but it happened right near the end of that power play, and it did happen. Do you have a second bad thing, Bruce?
Well, yeah. There's so many things, Dave. So many things. I'm going to bail, and I'm going to. It's not even fair to do that. Yeah.
Take a deep breath. Think about what you're going to say next.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm trying to
Something
find.
Bothering you? Say it. Just say it, but say it in polite terms, perhaps.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Well, I mean, just in general terms, the penalty kill. They got lit up for 2 goals in game 1 that tied it in the last minute, 1 in overtime. They scored right away. Tonight they had a 2-1 lead for 18 seconds, and the penalty kill got drilled for a goal right away. And then in overtime, this is 2 power plays. LA's got an overtime, which is probably 2 more power plays than Edmonton's had in playoff overtime this century, but that's another issue. 2 games in a row, LA got 1, and 2 games in a row, they scored. The penalty kill could not come through in either situation, and they're down the series because the PK let them down.
I wish DeHarnay had been out there at the end, honestly. I mean, I think he's their best defenseman on the PK. I do. And anyway.
I can guarantee you that the rawest rookie wouldn't have played that any worse.
Yeah. So the Kings, Bruce, so as I said, they had 16 grade A shots. 8 of those, fully half of them came on the power play. Mm-hmm. They had 9 5-alarm shots, mm-hmm. and 4 of those were on the power play. So 4 of their 5. They did. They feasted on the Oilers' penalty kill tonight, and it is a good power play, just as the Oilers' power play is freaking fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
All right, we are on to our good things, and I guess I'll go first. I thought maybe it's because I was worried about Stuart Skinner's play. I thought he was really good, and I thought he made a number. He made two. Just trying to think of the first one. He made two spectacular saves. The second one was in the third period with 10 minutes left in the third, and it's right near the end of a very dangerous LA power play. They've already had two grade A shots, and Arvidsson blasts it from the dot, winds up blasted through a screen, and the rebound goes across the net. And it hits Bjugstad, and Bjugstad directs it right at the Oilers' net, and it's going in. And Skinner, in Ken Dryden-esque fashion, launches himself and gets his pad over there. The big guy gets his pad over there, gets the pad on it, and stops what was going to be a really devastating goal against. That was just a fantastic save. I can't recall the one other one that I have in mind, but there was one other really nice save. Oh, great stop you have. It's at, this is Draisaitl's turnover where he's trying to pass to Bouchard in the second period.
Oh, the 2-on-0.
Cross ice pass. Mm-hmm. And this is another just a reaction save by Skinner. And he it goes, it's a 2-on-0 and puck goes one way and then the other. And there's a shot right near the post, and Skinner manages to get his pad on that one as well. So I just that was a great really save. Encouraged by the Oilers needed some big saves, and they got some big saves from their goalie tonight. You need big saves to win a game. I think he played well enough for the Oilers to win. This loss was not on Stuart Skinner. It was on the referees. No, it was on the Kings. Really played well. The King, I do think the Kings came up with their best game, and they played very well. Although, obviously having those power plays didn't hurt.
Yeah, okay, 5-4 tonight. David, was pretty close on power plays. The Kings only had one more than the Oilers. So it's 15-8 now in the series.
The power play time though? Was that?
Oh yeah. Well, no, it was 7 minutes for the Kings and 6:43 for the Oilers. So close.
Of course, the Oilers score. Yeah, they both scored.
They both scored twice.
Yeah.
So
they were even at even strength, Bruce, with the teams with 8 grade A shots each at even strength.
So, right. I guess I'm just old school enough that I'm trying to imagine Andy Van Hellemond calling that penalty in overtime. And I just can't.
Well, the rule is the rule is you don't call a penalty unless it's a good scoring chance in overtime. That's the old rule, as I recall. And so this was, I think it was close enough. I think it was in the modern NHL. That's a penalty. And
did he break his stick though? Like the guy dropped his stick, but it looked like an intact stick to me. But
well, anyway. I can't. That's what the announcer said. Yeah. And Hunter Ryan is actually really good. Like in picking out the action, like he picks up.
He dropped his. He did hack his stick, and he did. he checked him.
Hunter Ryan thinks that he broke it. The stick got broken, or someone did. I think.
No, he did, and the guy just threw it down after the whistle was blown. But to me, it looked intact. But that's, there was no sort of obvious splintered stick or pieces of stick or stick bent the wrong way. It was just, it looked like a stick, but it could well have been cracked or something. But
just a tough play.
Nuge was slow. He was slow. Yeah. Like he saw the play develop, and he was just a split second slow reacting to it. And when it got there, he was in a bad enough position that he did have to reach in and hack at a stick, and I called it. And that was the hockey game. So anyway, they need to get some more out of they got the 3 $5 million wingers, David, and they haven't got a lot done in 3 games.
Kane's struggling right now. I felt that he had a hard time
since he came back, really.
Yeah, he's had some moments where he's looked good, where you think maybe he's back, but man, he was struggling to make a pass or make shots tonight. He was really having a hard time. It's almost like they should move him down and move Fogle up or McLeod up because, I see what people are saying about Yamamoto, the people who defend Yamamoto, that he does make plays with the puck. He does win the puck. He moves the puck along. If there's anyone going to be shooting from the slot, you don't want it to be Yamamoto. But he does keep he's a solid defensive player, and he keeps the offensive play alive. So he is a glue player on a top line in that way. Kane is not at this point, and I think it's harming McDavid it's harming or Draisaitl when he was out there. Get maybe McLeod into that role and see what happens. I wouldn't be surprised if they go with 4 forward lines again next game to see if they can kind of change the rhythm of the game. Bruce,
might as well if they're going to use Philip Broberg for 3 minutes and 10 seconds.
You might as well have Devon Shore. At least you can put him out on the PK or whatever. Devon Shore played very well in the second half of the year. Bruce, what is your good thing?
Well, I got to go with Connor McDavid. I thought he put in a yeoman effort tonight, and this was the game I was hoping for from him that I thought would win Edmonton a game in Los Angeles. It would be a great game for McDavid, and they got one and they didn't win. And this is scary. He did not get enough help from his teammates to win this game. But Connor was giving it. He was clearly hurting there. He took a really, really heavy, sort of awkward check from Drew Doughty, who that was no problem. And he got up kind of sore, and it looked like it was somewhere in his lower body, but hard to tell exactly. But he toughed it out. And the hit came between his 2 goals, and the 2 goals were only 1:40 apart. And this was when the Oilers scored both of their goals on the power play. They mustered nothing at even strength tonight. And when they did muster a good shot at even strength, they tended to miss the net with it, it seemed like. Anyway, it was it was 2 great shots from McDavid from almost the same spot in the left face-off circle up near the ringette line. Fairways out, but 2 wicked drives, one in the top corner glove side and one in the lower corner stick side. And he beat the block attempts of Los Angeles defensemen and flat out beat Jonas Korpisalo, which is something nobody else could do in this entire game tonight. Came close to scoring a third goal a couple times. Korpisalo had the answers, and he had 7 shots. He had 5 hits. He had 2 takeaways, 53% in the circle, and he was leading the troops tonight. But it just wasn't quite enough. But certainly no fault from McDavid, who was clearly Edmonton's best player by some distance.
Yeah, it was the only thing that gave me comfort today as I was thinking about the game and all the indicators, various indicators that I thought kind of pointed towards the Kings win. Was the one indicator I thought was McDavid. I thought, okay, he's going to have a big game. I just don't, he's going to come through. And I wrote a post about it, what's wrong with McDavid? Absolutely nothing. And, he had been, in the first game, he made major contributions to 2 grade A shots. In the second game, it was 6. And this game, it was 9. So he's figuring, and mainly on the power play.
How many grade A shots did Edmonton have in this game? Remind me.
15.
Well, but only 15. 2 were grade A's, right?
Sorry, 5 alarms. Only 2 were 5 alarm, the 33 percenters. That's right. So yeah, his shooting, Bruce, that was just magical. It shouldn't go away. I think he's going to be hot shooting the rest of this series. I'm still bullish on the Oilers' chances this series. I think the Oilers are going to win this series. It's going to be harder than I thought it was going to be. I picked the Oilers in 5. But I do think the Oilers are better. No, that's mathematically impossible. So we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens from here on. Bad things can happen though now, right? You can just get some bad breaks. You could have a few bad goals. And
so more of what's been happening already, in other words.
Yeah, more of what's been. But Bruce, this game I don't think was lost on bad things. This game was lost with LA outplaying the Oilers slightly. I think they were the slightly better team tonight. That's my take on the game. And the Oilers were the better team by quite a bit in the first two games, and they were unlucky. Bad things did happen in both those games to have the Oilers just get one win out of two. Hockey, it's not always just. This is the way it works. Numbers. My number, Bruce, is 2. That is the number of 5-alarm shots that the Oilers had this game. But it is only the second time this year, all regular season, there was only one other game where the Oilers only had 2 5-alarm shots. Whole season, they averaged, I think, about 7 5-alarm shots a game. And there was only one other game, and it was the last time they played the Kings. And the Oilers only had 2 5-alarm shots in that game as well against the Kings. The Kings
in LA.
In LA, I watched.
Game,
I watched the. I was wondering about McDavid. Like what's going on, and I wondered, like, are they doing something special? Are they hooking, holding, or is there something going on? So I watched LA, and so the reason they're able to limit the Oilers like this is they're just a really good defensive team, and they have the line that McDavid's out there against is 3 really smart, effective hockey players: Danault, Arvidsson, and Moore. It's not like those guys shadow McDavid, though. Danault's not all over him all the time, hooking and holding, and he's not giving him the full Tikkanen or anything. The real key to the Kings' defense is their defensemen, these top 4 D-men. Drew Doughty teamed up with Mikey Anderson. Matt Roy teamed up with Vladislav Gavrikov. 3 of Roy's not a great skater, but the other 3 are great skaters, very smart defenders. Gavrikov, I think I might have made a disparaging comment about him at the trade deadline, saying I was glad they got Ekholm instead of Gavrikov. I shouldn't have done that because I wasn't that aware of Gavrikov. I hadn't done the work to have an opinion on Gavrikov at all. And having seen him in these games, I can see why LA really wanted this player, and the Oilers were in on him. He is an outstanding, agile skater with a lot of length, a big guy who plays smart defensive hockey. He's not rough. But he covers you like a blanket. I think Philip Broberg has a chance to be a Gavrikov kind of defender in a few years from now, having that kind of length, skating ability, good stick, not a physical player. That's what we're looking at in Broberg. But that's what Gavrikov is right now. Drew Doughty is a Hall of Fame hockey player, still playing at a Hall of Fame level. And Mikey Anderson, who I don't like because of his dirty play, he is a really good hockey player. I have to give him credit for that. He's a very fast skater, and he's hard to beat on the rush. So McDavid's biggest strength, his ability to beat defenders on the rush, is taken away somewhat when you have these players on the ice. They can shut him down, and they have been doing it. So when you're looking at, if McDavid can't beat them with his speed, generally speaking, little wonder other players are having a hard time. Edmonton needs to actually, it plays into Edmonton's hands on a certain level if the Kings don't play an aggressive forechecking game. If they hold back, play their whatever it is, neutral zone trap, and allow the Oilers to dump and thump, that's Edmonton's winning game. If they can get into the rhythm of dumping it in, getting in there fast, hitting those guys, because they're not big, this is how you will beat the LA Kings. You can't beat them on the rush. You're not going to beat this team off the rush. I don't see it happening. So, 2, that's why they only had the 2 5-alarms. They just didn't get into that rhythm of the dump and thump this game. It was another kind of, the Kings played better at even strength, for one thing. And I think they were more aggressive. I think they changed their tactics. I think they were forechecking harder this game and getting in on the Oilers more. The puck was more on the Oilers' end this game. And it had a different feel all game. It was more even throughout the game. The other games, the Oilers really dominated at even strength. That did not happen this game. And we'll see what happens next game. But the Oilers have to reestablish that even strength dominance if they're going to win this series. And they got to do it Sunday. Is it Sunday? Yeah.
Yeah. Well, as you know, not all shots are created equal, but at even strength, Edmonton outshot LA 32-22. According to Natural Stat Trick, the shot attempts were 63-36. Like, that's a big margin. So 63%, Fenwick, 59% shots, 64% scoring chances, but only 48% high danger chances. So they saw the same thing we did. Oilers' chances were coming from outside more than they were from the inside. Now they had a 12-11, but
so in other words, we played a perfect Calgary Flames losing game where you outshoot the other team significantly and still lose the game because you're not getting really good shots on net.
Something like that, yeah. And it was, I mean, at even strength, there was only the one goal, your first bad thing. That was the only 5-on-5 goal in the whole game, and each team scored 2 on the power play.
Yeah.
So that one critical sequence where they all got locked on the sideboards, you could say that cost them the hockey game. I mean,
so
each goal against was a killer.
Yeah, this is my point. If Oilers can only manufacture one even strength goal, right? They could win this game.
Yep.
And they couldn't.
Yep.
So there's the game, in my view. They were able to do so. They didn't do it this game. They've got to do it. They've got to get that even strength game going. Stay out of the penalty box, get your even strength game going. You will win the game. And didn't happen. What's your number, Bruce?
Yeah, I'm going to go with 2-10. And that's Oilers' record in overtime in the overtime playoffs in the McDavid Draisaitl era. They went 1-3 in 2017 when they lost game 1 to the Sharks, but won game 5 on the David Desharnais goal. And then they lost 2 in the overtime against Anaheim in the second round series that year. And then since then, it's just been a general stream of disappointment, with the one exception in Calgary where McDavid scored to eliminate the Flames. I mean, obviously that was a very high point, but the Oilers themselves have been eliminated from 2 playoff series in overtime. They lost 3 overtime games in 1 series to the Jets, and they lost in overtime to LA in game 5 last year. So that's 3 in a row now against the Kings, where they came up short in all 3 of them. And then they got eliminated in playoff overtime by Colorado, and it's just not good enough. I mean, this is 5-on-5 hockey, and my bad. It's normally 5-on-5 hockey in overtime. It's 4-on-5 if you're playing the Kings, but it's 5-on-5 usually. And tonight they never even gave themselves a chance. They got 0 shots. They wound up in the penalty box, and then they wound up fishing the puck out of the net, and they wound up waiting for a prayer of a video review that either was it looked like the puck was high sticked in the corner, and either the refs didn't see it that way, or
I wasn't sure about the video. I think the video review was inconclusive, personally.
Probably.
But I don't know if on the ice, if they blew the call, because you should be able to see it on the ice clearer than from video review.
Yeah.
But it just shows, what do we know in 2023? Video always lies. You just can't tell from video. It's very deceiving. It's very deceptive. So
probably those
live, they got to get that
did
call right.
deep fake of the play in the corner.
They could certainly see that tiny little slash from Draisaitl, that little henpeck from Draisaitl on Doughty. You'd think they could see him touch the puck in the air, but I don't know if he did or not anyway. I think actually the video, when I watched the video review, if I'm completely honest, I didn't think he did touch the puck. But
I did.
You did, eh?
Yeah, but I also thought it was possible that Ekholm touched it just before the King guy who knocked it down touched it, which would have legalized it. So maybe that's
no. On Hockey Night in Canada, they said it would have been dead if he had touched it in the air like that. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I think that makes sense, right? Because that's the danger. The reason you have that rule is it's a dangerous play to have your stick waving up there. I mean, that's the dangerous play that's happened. See, what happens after that is immaterial. But anyway, that's what they said on Hockey Night in Canada. I don't know the rule myself, so I won't pretend to know it.
Yeah, well, it's not like he whacked it over the glass like Kane did last game, but it sure just doesn't seem like these bounces are being very favorable just now. And all those wins at the end of the season are seeming pretty hollow when they can't find a way to win games when they matter the most.
It's not over yet. It's not over yet.
I'm aware.
I know.
2-1 down. I mean, they got to win 3 out of the next 4.
Yeah, they can do it. They can do it. All right, Bruce, you got to get writing, so let's leave it there. Thank you for talking tonight.
Late night tonight.
Yeah, sorry about that.
Overtime with an 8:20 start. At least they decided it quickly.
Yeah. Thanks for talking tonight, Bruce.
Okay, we'll talk to you again on Sunday, David. Thanks for listening, everyone.
Yes, thanks everyone for listening, and don't give up hope yet. There's the Oilers. They have to lose 2 more games to lose this series. I don't see that happening. All right. And in the meantime, and in between times, this has been another edition of the Cult of Hockey podcast.